Hello, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be sharing two journals that I have just recently finished over the last week or so. Now this journal right here dates back to 2021 and I'm not quite sure. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, this one is just a couple of years old because I think that some of these pages are from last year's journal January. Yeah. So I jump around from journal to journal. I once in a while I'll get into one and I'll go from start to finish in the same one before I move on, but for the most part I kind of changed my mind about the way I like doing things, and I'll explain a little bit more about these two types of journals that I use later on. I would like to make this something that I do maybe once every couple of weeks because I actually do have quite a few journals dating back to I think like 2008 or 9. So a lot of years worth of journals. But in the meantime, let's see what we have in here. Some of these pages do have journaling on them, and I just kind of covered them up with some, just some privacy little pieces of paper, but you'll get the idea of what the pages pretty much look like. So here's the front cover. This, I do believe, may be a library card from Japan. I have journaling on the back, so I'm not going to flip it over. But I found it inside of a book, and I love finding ephemera tucked in books. It's just kind of one of those little treasures. I actually found a four-leaf clover between wax paper in a book from 1910 once, and I still have that four-leaf clover. It was just such a cool find. But I love finding little things like this. Like I said, I'm not sure if this is a library card or not, but I love it. And then I have a little Tim Holtz girly on the front there. It got torn up. I don't know. I think I changed my mind. This was a listing journal when I used to do 30-day list challenges, and I didn't really like the direction it was going, so I tore it apart and redid it, and this front cover here got torn up. So this is a library pocket. I like to collect library pockets out of books that I get from the thrift stores. I will actually intentionally go into a thrift store looking for library books, old library books, and I'll take out the library pocket and then I'll donate it to the thrift store, because a lot of times they're children's books from children's libraries, and I like one time I got like 25 of them. I don't need 25 of the same book, if you know what I mean. But it's just kind of it may not seem like it's inexpensive. If you can find a thrift store that sells their children's books for 10 cents, I think this is worth 10 cents. So it's got a little bit of Japanese newspaper, some postage stamps, a little bit of stamping, a little book page. And here is another library pocket. This is a piece of my mother purchased some fabric at a fabric store, I do believe. I'm not sure what this is. This had something to do with her buying, or some purchase that she had made. So I made a copy, I believe, of that, and then I covered the front of that. So it's a little bit of a keepsake. And then this is just it's a crochet needle with some yarn. So this one is, I love these little pots. This is one of my favorite little tag collections here. I love it. And there's just super simple. This has some journaling, but that's a little image from a magazine, work basket, the vintage magazines from the 50s, 60s, 70s. I might even have some from the 40s. And then this is just from an old newspaper that I've had forever. And this was my word of the year during that year, grateful. And then this is just a comic from a Japanese comic book. Some background pages. And then this right here has my journaling spot. So I decorated around a journaling spot. Kind of a simple page. Another one with just some vintage newspaper, some journaling, just some stamps, just some stuff I had hanging around, getting rid of little bits and pieces. Washi, another Tim Holtz girly, some journaling here, a little bit of washi tape, a postage stamp. These are closed up because there was so much journaling there, it wasn't worth showing. So I think that is about it for the journaling. So Just some ephemera, a map, just having fun with stickers, stamps, die cuts, a cute little stamp there or a label. Yeah. And then this is from a children's book that I have. Just using up bits and pieces that you have that need a home. This was kind of an homage to when the Queen died. This is something that her son had said when she passed away, which has been one of my favorite quotes for many, many years. And then I think this is Balmora, one of her favorite places to be. So one of my favorite. My mom loved the Queen. We're not from England. I mean, years, of course, originally our family was, but my mom absolutely loved the royal family, loved the Queen. And so this is kind of an homage to my mom also. Okay, so this is just a little piece that I had saved off of a box when I worked retail. I used to, if I found pieces of paper inside boxes that had Asian writing on it, I'd take those home. And a little tag, flower, super simple. This one is actually a page I did a few weeks ago. And this is just a painted page here. This is some digital from ShabbDabbyDoDah. A little piece of some Japanese newspaper, a stamp, and I believe that this is from the Junk Journal Studio shop on Etsy. But I love the color, I love the contrast, the green in the background. And this project in this journal was to save these these pages that I'd put in this journal, and I just didn't want to throw it away. It was already made. The pages were a mess for me, tearing all the old decor off, and it's just me kind of having a place to play and put things and just experiment. So yeah, this this was from last year. I did a short on this one. Super fun. Just some scrapbook paper with botanicals. One of my painted masking tapes. A ready-made tag. I did a mass making of tags one time, and I love the way this one came out. It's just so colorful. It's such a change from the way this started back in 2021. And then this is some stuff that I think this was some happy mail. Yeah, this was some happy mail that I got. A couple of pieces here and there of just, some scrapbook paper and some decor and roses. Just some color. Just some fun with color there. And this is a couple of weeks ago. And this is something that I haven't done in a long time. Is just take some scrappy thread and put it on a silk flower, a butterfly, and I did some stitching around this, just having some fun, just playing around. And this right here is one of my favorite pieces of fabric. And here's the background. It's a digital that I purchased on Etsy. I don't remember the name of the shop. It's super cute shop. I'll share in the description box some of the Etsy shops that I'm using. This was from a couple of weeks ago. My daughter and my grandson just having fun with some photos. Oh, this one was a lot of fun. I really do enjoy this one. I really do like this one. This is what using fabric in my journals is something that I had done way back when I first started, and I'm picking that back up again. And this is some fabric that it's reversed. The front of this is on the page. Some Japanese newspaper, a butterfly. I try to give them antennae when I can, and it's usually a fail, but at least I try. Postage stamps, ShabbDabbyDoDah image. This one right here, ShabbDabbyDoDah image. Some tissue paper that I went over with some watercolor and just kind of scrunched up and put in the background. And a pretty butterfly postage stamp and a floral. Super simple, actually, when you think about it. One of the things that I kind of want to talk about here is preparing painted pieces to go into my journals, like this right here. This is a pre-painted dictionary page in the background here. When I'm doing collage, I like to just do the collage. I don't want to have to get out the water, the paint, the mess, and have just all that stuff on my desk. there's been a couple of mishaps with me getting a little too excited and dumping water all over my journal or whatever. So I try to keep the wet media separated from when I'm doing dry media. So I love having pre-painted pieces ready to use in my on my pages to just give it that artistic look, but I don't have a big mess to clean up. I hope I made that clear. But yeah, I have a whole box filled with just whatever kind of, inspires me. This is a copy of a Japanese newspaper that I was doing some dyeing and I laid the newspaper on the dye spots to kind of give it a cool dyed look. And so that's what this is. And it's something that I scanned, I put into my computer. I can print that up anytime I want. I can manipulate it. I can warm it up. I can change the colors. I can blow it up. There's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do when you scan items like this into your computer. And I'll talk a little bit more about that either in another, I think I'm going to make a video on just different ways that I do that, because it's nice to have it on hand. It's your own digital that you have in your computer. You can access it anytime you want for free, except for the cost of the ink, of course. So here's another one that's using this fabric here. It's very bright, but when you flip it over, it kind of blends it into the background, but it still gives you color. This is a piece of tissue paper that I watercolored it. Yeah. So I took a big sheet of black and white tissue paper and I just went to town with watercolor, let it dry, and now I have some pretty colored watercolor tissue paper to use in my work. And this is another piece of just some painted background. It's not a digital, it's the original, but I had a bunch of it, so I just thought it would be pretty on there. And this is a digital from a shop on Etsy that I will put in the description. I love her shop. I can't remember the name of her shop right now, but I'll put that in the description. And some bugs from Tracy Fox, her shop on Etsy, and some labels. She has a etymology group in her shop that I thought it would be kind of fun because I know I talked about this in the video that I did of this, but I'm going to go ahead and repeat it now. My grandson and I used to go on a lot of nature walks, so I thought it'd be fun to do kind of a bright, colorful nature page there. Let's see. Nope. All right. And this, I talked about this in one of my other videos also, but I'll just go through real quick. Some Asian newspapers, some stamped tissue paper, and just a couple of little odds and ends. This is just a strip of paper that I had on my desk. This is where I did the strips, and then this is a card that I had received from my mom for my birthday years and years ago. And this is the end. This, I was supposed to put some journaling in there, and I forgot all about it. I'll try to fix that. And this is just kind of this was my test page when I decided I wanted to try the strips. And then this is a frame image that I got from ShabbDabbyDoDah, a vintage postage stamp, and a flower. Super simple and a lot of fun. But this is what I was kind of practicing before I did this page. Yeah, or both these pages. I'm not sure. Is that one strips too? I think so. Yeah, these both are strips. So I practiced here. And this is just a printable from ShabbDabbyDoDah shop. All right. Hopefully this one doesn't have a bunch in it that I already made a video of, so bear with me. All right. This was a challenge from Junk Journal January of 2023. And it's just a bunch of squares. And then I went over them with faux stitching. And then I did the same over here. And I had this card left over from a previous, I don't know if this was going to be at the front of a greeting card or what it was, but I had it hanging around my creative space for so long, I decided it needed a home. This one was so much fun. So this is, you can see it's graph paper in black and white. And I took my 1-inch hole punch and just punched out a bunch of, first I made the grid. I did a border of just whatever strips of paper I had hanging around. And then in a grid type fashion, I put just these circles. And I even did a doily right there, which I thought came out really cute. Love that. And then I had this grasshopper that I had cut out, or cricket, I'm not sure, either or. From a children's book, I had him hanging around and he was kind of getting beat up. So I decided that that would be kind of a nice addition to this. Yeah. And then this was just from Flow magazine. But yeah, that was super fun. And this is just sometimes just filling up pages. This was written on the back of this photo. And so I rewrote it on a label because I'm a gardener. I love gardening and I love old pictures of people gardening. So I thought that was fun. He's a cutie pie, so I just decided I'd do something up here to I didn't want to cover him up. And I think, I'm going to be honest with you, this was actually another journal from another project that I dropped out of that I decided I didn't really want to do anymore. So this is me kind of doing damage control again. And I am going, of course, be honest with you about another thing. I do a lot of damage control. So that's just kind of how I roll. I don't do a lot of journaling in my journals anymore. I do it on my computer and then I print them up. So, but I like having these cards in there. I think they're super cute. Just something from a magazine, and then Tim Holtz floral, I think that is. And something left over from a journal that I took apart, and just some bits and pieces. This one I liked. This one actually came out kind of pretty. Because I have a lot of these large images from vintage magazines that I've collected through the years, and sometimes it's hard to find a place for them. And I've started to do this where I try to bring the whole thing together. So these are definitely separated. This one right here is a little bit more cohesive. But I kind of started doing this whole, like, bring both of the pages together a little bit and make it look a little bit more like one cohesive unit. I'm looking for the words and they're not coming out, so sorry about that. But yeah, so that's why it was just a great opportunity for me to use her like that. I think yeah I thought maybe I'd cut that, but I didn't. But I really like the way this one. This is from one of my vintage magazines also, and then just a little cluster over here. And this is a flower from some scrapbook paper that I purchased quite a while ago that I fussy cut out. And it worked out really well, the colors. Yeah. Okay, so another library pocket, journaling card, just kind of a gardening thing, and something I cut out. I don't do this very often, but I wish I would do this more often, is cutting out these sayings out of books and stuff. But just some stuff I have these little bits and pieces, kind of just hanging around my my creative spaces left over from other projects, and it's kind of fun to kind of just find a place to put them and play and see what you can come up with. This is a tag that I've had for a little while from a painted page that I'd done for an art journal, and just collaged over it. A small pocket and a matching journaling card. Oh, sorry. Butterflies, flowers, usual suspects. This I took from the internet, and hopefully there's not a copyright issue with this, so excuse me if there is. But it's something that my brother and I went to see a Kiss concert way back in the day, and I took this to make a birthday card for him. I thought he'd have a lot of fun with geishas dressed up as Kiss. And so I had some other things just kind of hanging around my workspace. This is a piece of fabric I did a little stitching on, a rose. So yeah, I took this out of another journal, and it needed a home. So that's what some of this actually is kind of reconstituted to another journal, because it just wasn't working out. Now this was fun. I had fun with this one. This is another piece of my tissue paper that I watercolored over, and this is a pre-made mass making tag that I had, and some stamped tissue paper. So on this, all I did was I covered it. I went over it with gesso, a little bit of tinted matte medium, did a little bit of stenciling, put this background on it, put on a tag, a butterfly, and a couple of pieces of tissue paper, and I had I think a fairly nice page spread, and I think they go together really well. That's the fun part, is trying to make, if you can see, this is a map page, and then this is a piece of scrapbook paper. But the challenge of bringing those two together as one unit it's a lot of fun. I think it came out pretty good. I like this one too. These pages here are within the last year. So my technique has improved quite a bit over the last couple of years. Gesso on the backgrounds, tissue paper, a piece of paper in the middle with the flower coming out, bringing the whole thing together. This is from a collection of photos that was given to me by a friend, and they accidentally double exposed it. And I just love the way that came out, that double exposed picture. And I'm so glad they kept it, because you kind of wonder, like, what's going on there. Kind of fun. Some saver stamps, a doily, and some little birds that I cut out from a children's book. I thought that came out pretty cute. I like the way the colors kind of I did something a little different with the colors on that one. And I think because I brought out the colors in the background here and here, it kind of came together pretty well. Okay, so another library pocket and a tag that I put together. I think I was watching a video during that one, maybe ShabbDabbyDoDah or something. That's what I keep thinking about when I see that. A flower cut from a scrapbook paper, a piece of scrap paper, a bird. Yeah. And I tried to bring those looks together in some of the colors. I'm trying to, like I said, this was when I was trying to make these pages cohesive. You know, bringing two different pages together. This one was pretty recent. This is a piece from a art journal that I made way back, one of my original art journaling pages. And I had, when we recently, well, back in 2020, we moved into a smaller home, and I had to downsize, and I just had a ridiculous amount of art journals. So some of them had to be reconstituted in some way because I just didn't have room for them. So that's what that is. And this is, I had misprinted something, and I didn't want to throw it away because I don't like throwing away stuff that I already used ink on. So I kept those, and it's kind of springy. So this is kind of a springy page spread. I think this is from No, this one I think is from Tracy Fox. A little Tracy Fox thing here, maybe. I'm not sure. It's all a blur at this point. Okay. Oh, and this one I just did recently. I really like this one. So first let me start from the background. I had already put this tissue paper on there that I received in a package that I ordered. I wanted to bring that look over onto this page, so I tried to look for a color of paint that would kind of bring it together. And I did this grid, and then over the grid, sometimes when I stencil, because I'm really bad at it, I'll go over the stenciling with pencil to make it look artistic and seem like I know what I'm doing. And so those colors came together that way. This is some painted tape that I had to put on there because the journal was falling apart. I have a lot, like I said, I have a lot of these larger images, but that need a home, and I just need to use them. And so I cut her out. I put her there. I put this really pretty image from a book that I purchased at a thrift store, and I scanned all of the color plates into my computer. If you're using them, if I were to try to sell this, I would get in big trouble. But if I'm using it for personal use, I'm not violating copyright laws. So that's just something to remember. Always look at the copyright laws in your own state or your own province or wherever it is that you live. But I did look it up, and the copyright law for this, if it's for personal use and I'm not selling it, it's fine. So I copied this, I scanned the color plates into my computer, and I shrunk them down because they were rather large, and I wanted smaller, like journaling card size for my journals. And this is from ShabbDabbyDoDah, and then this is some fabric that I have. I scanned a bunch of little pieces of fabric, so I have those because I'm not going to be able to replace those, so I wanted to make sure that I could reuse them. So that's what this is. And this is from a recent video, which I really enjoyed. This is from Seven Plaza. She did it. She's doing a mask making for March. Love, 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 love. And this is another one of those color plates from that book that I shrunk down and printed. Just kind of a cute gardening montage. This is a painted page of mine from a journal that it was just, there were too many of these painted pages in there. So I took that out, cut it down to size, inked the edges of it so that I had kind of a pretty painted page here, because I put this across both and it was just a bit much. So, well, that's the end of those two. So I'm going to talk a little bit about these types. I love this type of journal, and I used to not like this. I was trying to get away from this type of journal and into these. And now I'm finding that I love them both. These are great. They're fun to make. They're fun to work in. You can, the thing that I think that I'm not liking as much about this particular type is I feel like I have to do both pages at the same time. I have to make them cohesive. Whereas, let me show you, I'm finding that I love to just work on one page once in a while. And that's when, for years and years, of course I did both pages at the same time. That's just the way I did it. Those colors are going together, the whole, 9 yards. But now I'm finding that once in a while, I really just want to work on one page. And so these, I'm getting back into using these journals again. As a matter of fact, this past week, I made 2 or 3 new ones. I'm loving the size. Since I've gotten back into this, because I walked away, like I said, 2021, and the last page in here is from just a couple of weeks ago, right? I'm just falling back in love with these types of journals again. I have some larger ones. Hold on. These are my bigger journals, and I'm really struggling with the size. And so I'm going to work on that, because these actually need to be finished up. I don't like to have too many art journals not worked on in my workspace. So I'm going to attempt to get these done. Hopefully maybe make a video or two out of them. But the kind of the last little bit that I want to kind of touch back base on is this is really a good example. As you can see, I put the background on there, and then I painted over the background, and then I had to wait until it was dry, right? And then sometimes when you do that, it will some of the things on the other side of your of the page will start popping off, especially if you use glue stick. So I've had that happen, and to me, I want my wet media separated. I want to be able to go in there, create collage with dried pieces. And that's the reason why I've switched over the last few years to having my painted pages on hand, just having them pre-painted, having a whole box. Hold on. I might as well show you what I'm talking about. So once in a while, when I feel like painting, getting messy, I will pre-paint backgrounds for my art journals. So this one is just pink craft paint. You're just cheap craft paint that you get from the craft store. A mason jar dipped in black paint, some bubble wrap in white paint, and then I think I went over it with gesso and tint before I did that white, or else that white would be pretty dull. But yeah, so just layers of different painting, bubble wrap, circles. This is watercolor on some coffee dyed paper, mixed media paper. And this is a masterboard of, what is that? Oh, this is a masterboard of just some vintage magazine pages. And then I went over it with gelatos, sprinkled it with water, and then did some stenciling. Now this is the kind of thing I can scan into my computer and reuse over and over again. I don't have to get all this paint out. I don't have to make this big mess. Sorry, but I guess you're kind of getting the hint that I'm not a huge fan of having to clean up after myself. But yeah, it's a mess. But I'll mass make painted pages. I'll mass make these painted backgrounds. And then I'll have them for my journals. And I just recently came up with scan them into the computer. Now you can reuse them over and over. You don't have to make them anymore. So some more gelato dictionary page with a little bit, some gesso over it and paint splatters. These are the just tissue paper with splatters of watercolor. I know this is supposed to be a flip through of journals, but I figured I might as well talk a little bit more about this. Unfortunately, we're going into overtime, so I'm not sure how long we can do this. But yeah, just a mishmash, some experiments, piece ends. You know, you can use those in your, you know, tear those and use them in different ways in your journals. But yeah, this has been one of my favorite things, though. Sorry about the noise, but this actually is. This one isn't as bright and beautiful as some of the other ones, but I love the tissue paper with the watercolor. Because then if you just use a glue stick, dry glue, they won't smear, they won't, you know, mush around onto your project. So yeah, highly recommend. Highly recommend starting your own box of painted backgrounds. All right. I think that's enough for one video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask any questions. And until next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.